So for the 13th class, we focused in on the topic of French and Spanish settlements in North America. Now, the prior class was about England, what they were up to. Today was more so about the French and the Spanish. And when you look at these European nations, when they came over to the Americas, it started fairly small, as evidenced by this map. So this is 1650, and you can see there's the Spanish doing their thing in Florida. There's the English doing their thing on the east coast of what became the United States. You can see the French doing their thing in Canada, and then you see the Dutch in New York and the Swedish of all people. You know, I know the Swedish chef, but I don't think of them as like a colonial power. So anyway, why Sweden's in the mix, I'm not quite sure. But if you look at these four from 1650, let's go 100 years ahead in time. Bang, boom, it got big. Okay, you can see what the British were up to, what are the 13 colonies of the United States, what became the United States, and the French. Holy shnikey. I mean, look at how big the French were. And then you see the Spanish, what they were doing. So here's 100 years different. There's 1650, 1750. 1650, 1750. Okay, you get the point. So what started really small became really big enterprises for these three heavy hitters, okay? Now, let's look at our own town, okay? Let's keep, our history a little bit local. This is Detroit, Detroit. Okay, we were part of that French big blue, there we are, Fort Detroit. Hey, we even got our name on the map. And we're one of many places. You can see of all these different places that came from the French, okay, Detroit. In fact, if you look at our city's flag, there's the fleur-de-lis. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I've never taken a French class, but obviously the symbol of the French. And we were founded July 24th, 1701. And our motto is, we hope for better things. It will rise from the ashes. I won't get into local history, but Detroit did burn down. It had to get rebuilt. Anyway, my point is that the French had this enormous geographic influence, including our hometown. Anyhow, now what really fueled the French was beaver fur. And I know in modern times, beaver fur is not a real hot commodity. But back in the day, that was it. And there was a tremendous amount of beavers here in North America. And the French were motivated to come over here and try to profit off of this animal. And when I was a kid, you really didn't hear about them. You heard that they were endangered. I saw one in the wild for the first time in 2021. So they have made a comeback, but bear in mind, it was a long time ago, but they almost got wiped out. And you can see all the hats that the French were selling. Big money in that. Now, in terms of the Spanish, you can see the Southwest here. And if you ever travel to the Southwest, a lot of Spanish names. Okay, so for instance, Detroit is Detroit French, but if you look at this part of the country, San Antonio, San Diego, San Antonio. Okay, San is saint, okay? So like that was my name, San Antonio. There it is. So the Spanish were in a different part, okay? Whereas you see the French were here, okay, in Canada, in the Midwest, all the way into the middle of Canada. You can see the Spanish were more in the Southwest and in Florida, and that influence is still around to this day. Now, the Spanish brought this social hierarchy, this very strict racial social hierarchy, which we'll learn about in more detail as we go. But what this created was this racial notion that whatever your bloodline was your position in society. And there was a stretch of American history, I think it's safe to argue, that we ran ourselves that way. Obviously, when the institution of slavery was going on and the American Indians, where they were in society. So, the Spanish social hierarchy had a similar kind of vibe, okay? So these three types of colonial settlements. Now, if you are absent, we went over this in class, and I'm not going to do all of this in this video, but this is a good resource. But essentially, there's a trading post colony, a plantation colony, and a settler colony. And you can see the differences here in this chart. I don't need to read a chart to you, but that was a point of emphasis in class if you were absent. Another point of emphasis is looking at what Spain was up to, what France is up to, and what England is up to. There's a PowerPoint on Google Classroom if you want to check that out, or you can freeze this video. That was another point of emphasis from class. And then a little more detail about the Spanish versus the French versus the English. Again, it's on my PowerPoint, it's on Google Classroom, that sort of thing. And we wrapped up, and if you were absent, I'm going to ask you to answer these questions. They do correspond with pages 82 to 90 in your book. What were the 3 types of colonial settlements? Hey, look at that right there. That's great. Okay. Compare and contrast the colonies of Spain, France, and England. Hey, check those 2 out. Hey, look at that. That's wonderful. Okay. How did France's role in North America evolve from small settlements in Canada to become the dominant European power? You're going to have to dig your nose into the book for that one. Why was Spain so concerned about English and French colonization? Again, dig your nose into the book. And then how did the English, French, and Spanish interactions with American Indians and Africans differ? So hopefully that comes to light too. So I'm going to ask you to answer those 5 questions. And I'm going to go to Google Classroom real quick. Okay. You don't need to see my desktop. It's not real exciting, is it? All right. Where are you, Waffle? There you are, Waffle. Okay, Classroom. Just to reiterate what we did, you go to APUSH. There you are. And you go to classwork. I'm pretending I'm an absent student. Yeah. Hope everybody's here. This is all totally unnecessary. But you go to class 13. We watched that as an opening. I wouldn't play it on this video or I'd get, in trouble for copyright, but we started class with this. We went through this PowerPoint in more detail, more discussion, and then we culminated with answering those questions. So if you can answer those questions, you will be caught up and all good, and then we will move on to a new topic tomorrow. So hope you're all doing well, and I appreciate you watching.